here in Kellogg, Idaho. And this is a pretty exciting transaction for us. You know, when we've those of you who have been following the company, we've talked for quite some time around the restart of the Bunker Hill operation, but we've also talked about more strategically looking for consolidation opportunities in the Silver Valley. And this is one that we've been looking at and monitoring for quite some time, and we're really excited about what this acquisition and the Ranger Page property, the potential that it has. You can see from the screen here that it's a pretty large extension of our mineral endowment, which is very exciting. And it's a mineral endowment that has a proven track record of production. And the Silver Dollar team had done some fantastic work bringing the property along from an exploration standpoint and a land consolidation standpoint in a manner that really makes this a great opportunity for Bunker Hill. Oh, so, just for context, you know, when you look at the larger Silver Valley, the Bunker Hill and the Ranger Page mineral endowments are the westernmost mineral endowments in the Silver Valley that were mined, and this is really pretty exciting from the standpoint that you know that what we're looking at with the Ranger Page is actually in a lot of respects, and we believe just an extension of the Bunker Hill mineralization to the west. The Ranger Page property historically was operated by Asarco, and of course the old Bunker Hill mining company controlled the mine, the Bunker Hill, and there wasn't really a lot of exploration done near the property boundaries of either one of those assets. And so there's a kind of a large gap of no information or data, but certainly the geology suggests, and we believe, that the mineralization is continuous right from Bunker Hill straight through to the Ranger Page deposit. So the Ranger Page, it was mined by Asarco in the 1950s and 60s. It's on patented mining claims, private land, which is again an advantage and a distinct advantage from that we see with the with the asset, in that exploration success can relatively quickly be turned into operation and supplemental feed for the processing through the Bunker Hill processing facility. And in addition, the mineralization is relatively shallow. The Ranger Page mine was only down at its deepest point around 2,000 feet, and some of the mineralization that was identified through drilling by the Silver Dollar team that we'll be looking to follow up on and expand on is as shallow as 200 feet below surface. So we're really looking at a unique opportunity area of known mineralization in the Silver Valley with demonstrated exploration potential and success. In fact, there's over 8 targets that are specifically have been identified on the Ranger Page property for exploration, and the exploration was advanced in a very logical and methodical manner. Started with cataloging historic data, followed on with surface soil sampling, geophysics, then target identification, and then target testing. All of which were successful, and really sets a great foundation to add to Bunker Hill's existing information and geologic information, put a combined model together, and look for opportunities that can really add quite significantly to the Bunker Hill mineral endowment. You can see some of the results of the geophysical work here, and some of the most interesting targets: the Crown Point, East Curlew, Black Hawk, Ranger, Wyoming, the Spring. All of those faults have slightly different names on the Ranger Page property, but are continuous from a geologic perspective straight through to the Bunker Hill mineralization and geology. So this represents, there's well over 1,000 feet of strike length that remains largely unexplored between the Ranger Page property and the Bunker Hill property, and that's an obvious opportunity for expansion of resource. In particular, we're interested in, on the on the silver potential of this acquisition. The East Curlew that was tested by Silver Dollar came back with a very nice silver grade near surface, right around 200 to 250 feet from surface, with 162 grams over just over 3 meters. So, when you're looking at that near surface, high grade silver, it's a great opportunity uh, for exploration success and value creation. That's a picture of the core that we were talking about, and where it was drilled from. The You could see the Ranger Page, the historic mining operation, was a little bit further to the west. Now, Ranger Page, or the Page mine, was a little bit more zinc dominant in nature, but the grades that we're kind of seeing, and the opportunity that we're seeing between the Page mine and the Bunker Hill mine, particularly in the upper areas of the mine, have strong silver potential that come with them. And then certainly at depth, there is a complete lack of drilling and information. Again, the deepest information we have is at the Page mine, which was only down around 2,000 feet. So keeping that in context, it's very typical to see mineralization like we see on the Curlew vein in the Silver Valley be a part of a vein structure that is continuous over around 500 to 700 feet on strike, and often represented by over 1,500 feet of vertical extent. So this bodes very well for exploration success and exploration potential, looking to bring additional silver into the Bunker Hill resource and ultimately into the mine plan. On cross section, you can see here the historic Page mine, where the drill holes that were drilled by Silver Dollar encountered mineralization, and all the way looking to the east is the gap between the historic Bunker Hill mine workings. Some of the geophysics and IP data that were underpinned the underpinned the exploration target and initial drill holes, and really leads us to believe that there is multiple, up to potentially 8 or 9 previously undiscovered and unidentified lead zinc silver veins to be explored and identified in the Ranger Page property. One of the ways that we're going to be looking forward and consolidating the data and beginning to build a more consolidated geologic story between the Ranger Page and the Bunker Hill mine is to take both the Ranger Page data set and the Bunker Hill data set and begin to use some AI tools to look at and identify commonalities, and identify and help support and help identify high quality, high probability exploration targets. So certainly keep an eye out as we begin that process. We expect that there could be some really interesting opportunities that are identified that have perhaps gone undiscovered so far. This is a helpful picture because you could see the gap between the Ranger Page workings and the Bunker Hill workings, and begin to appreciate the gap between those two areas of mineralization really doesn't have anything to do with a lack of mineralization. It has, in our view, everything to do with a lack of information and exploration focus in that corridor between the Ranger Page mineral endowment and claim package and the Bunker Hill claim package. It's one of the reasons that we're so excited about this opportunity. And so when we look at this, we see multiple targets, multiple exploration targets, demonstrated geologic potential, a solid foundation of data acquisition and geochemical geophysics, supported by a testing of a drill hole and a drill program that was successful, and on a property that's immediately adjacent to us. This has been described to me by some of the geologists who worked in the Silver Valley back when both Ranger Page and Bunker Hill were working, as some of the most prospective unexplored geology that's remaining in the Silver Valley. So very, very excited about the opportunity and the upside potential that this acquisition presents us. And we see it as the realization of one of our longer term strategies, which is value creation through consolidation in the Silver Valley. And we see this as a very positive early step along that front. And with that, I'll turn it over to any questions that anybody has.
If anybody has any questions, they can put them in the chat box. Sam, it doesn't seem to be any questions. So at this time, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and we look forward to hosting you again soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. And again, look for more communication and information as we get to take a look and develop our exploration plans and our plans on what we'll be doing with the Ranger Page going forward. And we certainly expect that when we consolidate the data sets and use some advanced exploration tools, including AI, that there's going to be some very, very interesting opportunities that present themselves with the Ranger Page acquisition. So thank you all very, very much for dialing on this morning, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you.